So, in this portion of session 4, we want to focus on the habit of eating with others. Now, eating with others is a habit that we don't think of oftentimes as a spiritual practice, but when you look at the life of Jesus, you see that Jesus is constantly moving from the table of others. He's either headed to a table, he's at a table, he's leaving a table. I mean, so much of Jesus's life is him living in relationship with others around the breaking of bread. And it's because eating is just this great equalizer. It's a place where we can get on equal footing and really get to know and discover relationship in other people. And so, as we start this as discipline, know that this is a discipline that's focusing on taking relationship deeper and learning how to join Jesus where he's at work in the lives of other people. To help us with this, there's an illustration we want to use just to help you begin to conceptualize the table as a place of meeting. So every table that we have, we're going to work with two assumptions. One, that Jesus is also at work in the world wherever we are, which means when we meet with other people at the table, Jesus is there with us. Now, this can look one of two ways. At my table, Jesus is the co-host with me as we are welcoming people to our space to get to know them, to welcome them, to discover what God is doing in their life, to encourage them, to build them up, whatever this looks like. But we are hosting others in our own space. This is a place where we get to lean into the power of invitation, the power of hospitality, the power of curiosity, where we get to be very intentional about building relationships with people. Now, the table of others is not a place where I make the invitation, but others make that invitation. And we find ourselves as a guest with Jesus in the world of other people. And this is such an amazing place, but we are also there for the same reasons to discover where God's at work, to deepen relationships. Matter of fact, when you think about it, every table, there's three things we're going to be focusing on doing together. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to try to discover the stories of others. We're going to ask questions about their lives and their families. And like that's one of the foundational ways that we can deepen relationship is to discover the stories of the people that we are dining with. Second, we want to deepen friendships. We want to go from casual to more intentional and even to spiritual conversations. We want to learn to shift gears and really deepen relationships at a place. And so your table becomes a place where someone goes from an acquaintance to a friend, from a friend to someone that you trust. I mean, these are the kinds of things that happen as we spend time together at the table with others. The third thing that we want to also do is say that we want to discern next steps, meaning that lots of times God has us at a table because he's at work in a way, either in us or in the person we're sitting across from, or both, in ways that we want to discover so that we can join him. That this is never something that we do apart from Jesus, but something that we do because we are joining Jesus in the journey that we are on together. And so, as we discover stories and deepen friendships and discern our next steps, we're going to have opportunities to invest in, bless, disciple, and join what Jesus is doing in real people by making room for them at our table. And this is why there's a door on this illustration. The door is the door of invitation. Nothing happens at the table if we don't make room by inviting people into our spaces and by accepting invitations into other spaces. And this is where we want to move to our template and really think about how we move this from a concept into practice that we can build as a habit in our spiritual life. So on the template, you'll see eat with others. I eat with others in order to build deeper relationships with those around me. Now, this is something, again, we want you to circle. Are you starting? Are you continuing this? Are you deepening this? Is this something you're like, hey, this is not a habit I have at all? Like no one comes to my house. My house is my place where I am safe and whatever. And that's something that you want to really pray into in this, because this might be something God's asking you to start opening up your life by opening up your table or by creating spaces at neutral tables like at restaurants or at places with people, but where you can deepen relationships. Because if we are not at tables with people, then we are living in a very distanced reality of relationship. And that's not how we were designed to operate. Maybe you just need to continue. Maybe there's like, hey, there are people that you regularly meet with, and you just want to keep doing what you've been doing. Or maybe you're like, hey, I think I've been doing this okay, but I really think in this next season, I need to be more intentional about being intentional at the table, about asking good questions, about having the conversations, about deepening friendships, some of the stuff we've talked about. Really want to lean into that. So in this template, we want you to kind of think in two categories. So, inviting to your table in this season, I want you to think through your world map and think through some of the people that you need to make room for them to come to your table to be intentional, like someone that you want to invite because you want to very intentionally say, I want to deepen my relationship with you. You don't have to say it in a creepy way. But you do have to invite people. You do have to make room for that to happen. And so in that part of your template, we want you to just pray and write down some names where you're like, hey, in the next season, I want to be really intentional about inviting people. You can't control their yes, but you can make room for it to happen. Now, this might be some people that you just kind of say, I'm going to invite them once and see what happens. This could be people that you're like, hey, I want to meet with them regularly. And this becomes a rhythm where it's like, hey, once a week, once a month, once every couple weeks, we're together on purpose so that our relationship can get deepened. But I want you to think on that left side, who am I inviting into my space so that I can be intentional with them? On the other side of this, I want you to start praying about the tables that you want to be invited to. What I mean by that is there are people who you're not going to get to know them more deeply unless they make room for you to do that, unless they extend an invitation to you and say, I want a deeper relationship with you. I wanted to discover your stories. I want a deeper friendship. Um, and those are some people I just want you to pray through and write down some names or like, who are some of the people that you're like, I feel like God's put them in my world, but I don't know them well enough. And I feel like they're going to have to open a door to me and pray for them. Pray and make this a target of prayer for you in this area and commit on the front end. If they invite you to do something, then you're going to say yes and do it so that you can be present like Jesus as a guest in their space, but also to pay attention with what God is doing in those spaces. In this template, the goal is simply to make a hit list of people that you want to spend time with so that you can then build a plan to do it. And again, whether these are one offs or repeated invitations or invitations that you're praying for, the focus here is shifting from haphazardly waiting for it to happen to being intentional about creating it and looking for it and then praying for it so that we can be all the more intentional in relationships this season.